Hey, it's Jamie. That's me here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to yet another review on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, I must say, Reunion Part 2 was very much so dry to me. I did, take notes, but then I'm doing away with the notes. I just jotted down a few things that I can remember. I'm sure everything is going to be out of order, but we are going to just talk about what it is that I have. I don't expect this review to be very long as the reunion was very lackluster. Marlo, we continue with Marlo being on this crying rant that I was not thoroughly interested in really hearing about. I do understand that she and Kenya are damn near the same person, but Kenya was raised, by most of her family. Not that that means anything. And Marlo was raised in foster care. So maybe that's why they may handle situations differently, yet the same at the same time. I don't know. But whatever. So she over there on that crying rant, trying to get sympathy from Andy. And it just, I just really didn't care. And what I also really did not like about her crying the entire time was her voice change. It was giving, I'm trying to get Andy on my side and see that I'm really hurt, and hopefully he'll feel guilty enough to have me back next season. Like I didn't like it. But that real voice ended up coming out at a later time or whatever, especially when she was yelling at Kenya when Kenya called her out about her name. And Kenya said, Marlo's not even your real name. It's Latoya Hutchinson. And then you were sitting up there calling her a liar. She's a liar. She's a liar. And maybe she is. She says that she got the Latoya Hutchinson name from her first arrest record. Now, granted, Marlo could have been using fake aliases, okay, when she got arrested, right? But then she showed a birth certificate that really didn't look that authentic to me. I was like, is this a real birth certificate? It doesn't really strike me as one, but maybe her name is Marlo Hampton. And she said her mama named her after the actress Marlo somebody. And I was like, girl, don't nobody know who the hell that lady is. But anyway, Kenya in this marriage. This marriage is still at a standstill. She really doesn't have an explanation as to why it's at a standstill. I just think ultimately it's because Mark doesn't want one. I guess he's not willing to sign paperwork so that they can separate things. Okay, so she's sitting over here being stuck in a marriage. And I've said this before. I just don't think that marriages should be going on for years. I'm sorry, divorces should be going on for years. I feel like after a year, if a person is not moving forward to actually settle, then there should be some type of default judgment or something, where a person is automatically divorced and maybe at a later time they figure out the specifics and the financials, or a person gets oh so much percentage they forfeit absolutely. Like, let's say, okay, she's the one that has all of the coin, right? And she's trying to petition him with a deal and he's not willing to settle or accept that deal that she's trying to offer him, meaning you go away with nothing or you go away with 5% of this, 5% of that. If that person does not make a move to settle after a certain period of time, then it should automatically default to what that person wanted, okay, to what she would want if he's not trying to make a move to actually settle with her. I feel like, okay, then he just get 1% of everything or no percentage or whatever it is. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know, but they need to figure some shit out about that. Like, marriages or divorces should not carry on longer. So, because in this case, Kenya has been getting a divorce longer than her ass been married. And I just think that at some point we need to draw the line and release this lady of this marriage. And because they haven't been married long enough, I feel like he should not be entitled to absolutely anything, honestly. So it should be a clean, clear cut divorce for the both of them, honestly. Okay. Kandi, when it came down to Kandi and the whole comment of Kandi stuck in the locker room or whatever, Sheree, addresses her speaking on it in the confessional and how she feels like, well, hell, Kandi, we know she a freak. We know she likes to do certain things. So it's not far fetched to believe that she sucked DICK. And the thing for me was Kandi never fully addressed it. And if she did, I feel like they edited it. Now, they also said that Kandi and Sheree got into it real bad, but Bravo didn't show us that they got into it real bad. But whatever, girl. Like, Kandi didn't address it. It was stupid. I do believe that Kenya probably made that comment. Kenya kind of said in a reunion how she wanted to spice things up just a bit. And it sounded like she was about to make a confession that she did write it, but then she just laughed at it and that she didn't have anything to say. So I do think that it came from Kenya. I kind of mentioned that earlier in the season that I think Kenya could have wrote that. But it is what it is. I felt like Marlo this episode and a little bit of last episode was about redemption for Marlo. Kenya ended up saying it earlier on when she said that it was damage control. I thought that was so funny when she asked, what's his name? She asked Andy to pass her a napkin as Marlo was telling her story. And he said, "Oh, you're being sentimental, like you're crying. Like, is it tough for you to hear?" She says, "No, my nose is cold. Girl, I holler because I understand that feeling when your nose get cold, girl, and it gets to running. Let me get a little bit of tissue." And then as Marlo continued to talk, Kenya says that it's called damage control. And then Marlo tells her it's called evil, BITCH or whatever. And I just thought that was kind of funny because I'm like, one thing Kenya gonna do is keep her foot on Marlo's damn neck, and Marlo really cannot take it. Now Marlo's over here trying to have her redemption moment or damage control moment, and she's just, talking about things that she's been through or whatever. So Andy asked her about her nephews. And why is it that she talks so much about foster care and how she ended up being put out of a home that she thought was going to be her forever home, and how it affected her? But then she turned around and do the same thing to her nephews. And this was Marlo's cop out for me. Marlo said, "Well, with I don't know if she admitted that she was wrong or not, but Marlo says, well, when it comes to foster parents, they take a class for that. I didn't take a class, but you also know, Marlo, that you can also foster your own relatives. You don't have to just foster strangers. You also can take in your own relatives, ma'am." So with that being said, you too could have taken foster classes. If your nephews are now your foster kids, they don't always just give kids to you and just say, "Here you go, Goodwill Hunting." That's not how they always work. Sometimes you as a aunt can become a foster parent to your nephews. And even with that, with all this coin that you got and how you over here throwing out, Balenciaga, I got this, Fendi, that, Gucci, Louis, Prada. You also could have taken some classes as well if you felt that damn overwhelmed about parenting, never been a parent before. You could have taken that as well. And I'm sure that they would have offered some resources to you, considering the fact that you took in these two boys who are technically your foster kids as well. You feel what I'm saying? But it was like, Marlo missed me with that bullshit and that excuse that you tried to use, okay? She said that she needed a reset. People want folks to have so much sympathy for Marlo. Y'all do what y'all want to do with that. But for me, I just feel like you want us to have sympathy for you because you needed a reset. But did you have any sympathy for your sister who had 4 toddler kids? 4 toddler little boys, and then you sent 2 other teenagers over there, 2 teenagers that you could not keep control of, so you sent they uncontrollable over there to her for her to deal with. So now she got 6 individuals on top of her husband and her at the motherfucking house. Like, yeah, y'all do with that what y'all want. But anyway, yeah, I think I talked about Kenya calling Marlo out by her real name. So we talked about that. Marlo says that Kenya is very dismissive when it comes to her, but she wasn't dismissive when it came down to her disliking Portia. Girl, cut that out. You didn't like Portia because that was something that you chose to do. I don't think Kenya went to you and asked you to not like Portia. Drew even had to speak up and say, "Girl, you fell out with me. You wasn't rocking with me because I was friends with Portia." So let's be honest, like, you can't put that off on Kenya. That was an executive decision that you chose to make because you was feeling away. Okay. That had everything to do with you. Okay. And I feel like it was strategic as well because, Portia was one of the top girls on the show. So who would you come at to make your position more solidified, in my opinion, outside of Portia? So now that Portia's not there, who's the next person you finna come at? Kenya. Okay, and also Miss Kandi as well. So who else you gonna come at again next season? The same people, because your whole goal is to solidify your position as, a housewife on the show. So I guess it's working for you. So good luck. What else? Martell ends up calling Sheree during the reunion. And Andy got a chance to speak to him real briefly, honey. Kenya sitting over there talking about she heard that D was good. Sheree over there laughing like, "Who told you that?" And I'm like, "Girl, have they crossed the line?" Some part of me feel like they haven't, but then I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they did or whatever. So Sheree likes it. Okay, congratulations to her. Okay, so they got to meet Martell. Andy thinks that Martell is such a hunk. And I mean, Martell's not a bad looking guy, in my opinion. His actions don't line up well, often, but hey, it is what it is, girl. If she wants them, then do what you're gonna do with them, honey. Let's move on. At a later time, we see where Sheree and Drew going back and forth over things and comments that Anthony made, saying how Sheree doesn't pay bills, she don't pay people or whatever. And then the conversation coming up about Drew's husband being accused of being gay or something. So Drew read text messages or whatever. No, Drew played audio between she and Anthony. So Sheree decides she was finna FaceTime Anthony. "I got one better for you," and Anthony answers the phone. And all I got from that Whatever Drew said Anthony did, he did that shit. Whatever Sheree said Anthony did, he did that shit. And Anthony is fake as hell, and y'all don't need to have that boy on that show. Absolutely. No more, in my opinion. Okay. So he's one of those people that goes along to get along and whatever. Like he's giving Sheree, as Sheree sat down there and listened to Marlo dog Kandi out and just went along with everything. Like, yep, yep. You know what I'm saying? So he likes mess, he likes drama, he likes to appear relevant where he isn't. And if y'all gonna keep him around, that's on y'all. But we would prefer not to see him. And I actually like the way Andy hurried up and hung up that damn call when he tried to sit up there and say that Drew needed a storyline or whatever the case was. So Andy was like, "Yeah, but let me go ahead and hang this call up because you're doing entirely too much, boo." Okay. So then Marlo speaks on her home being burglarized and how it affected her nephews and stuff and her and everything. And then she says, that when the people broke into her house, her nephew yelled for her, and then she says that she ran down there and she said something like she cussed them out, like, "I'm ready for y'all, come on, XYZ." And I'm like, well, Marlo, when you did your interview with the news, you said that you ran to your panic room. So which one was it? Did you run to the panic room and you and your nephew locked yourselves up in the panic room, or did you cuss the men out and say, "Come on up here, you ready for him, whoop de whoop de whoop"? Which one was it? Because I'm just telling you what it is that you've said, and this is my first time hearing that you said anything to the guys and they ran off once they heard your voice. Like, okay. But Kenya says that her whole point was that with so many things happening, with Drew having a scare, Kandi having a scare, she just wanted everybody to get on one accord to see how they could go about protecting themselves or whatever. So they kind of had to talk about that or whatever. They also talk about Sanya and Kenya and how Sanya kept throwing up the couple word in Kenya's face. And Sanya says that when she watched the playback, she saw how it could have been offensive to Kenya. That was not her intention. She didn't mean to do that, but because of what happened with Kandi's event and Kenya wanting to bring a +1, she thought that she was being proactive by letting her know, like, hey, you could bring a +1 to this event. Like, it's all good, but she didn't mean to keep throwing couple up in her face, so she kind of apologized. And so Kenya was asked whether or not she regret hanging up in Sanya's face. And I thought that was kind of funny, but messed up at the same time, because Kenya did say I knew Kenya was going to say no. I said one thing about Kenya rarely apologizes. Okay. So when Andy asked her that question, she says no. And she says, now, if I was on the phone with my grandmama and I said that, my grandma would have hung up in my face. My grandma would have politely hung up that phone, but came over there and beat my ass. And then Andy was like, well, how would you have felt if Sanya came over there and had beat your ass? And Ken just pretty much laughed it off. She didn't necessarily, answer the question. Basically, Kenya doesn't see it for Marlo nor Sanya. Okay. And that's just what it is. And she's still going to continue to be on both of their head tops as they move forward into the next season. Now, I can see her probably getting back on one accord with Sanya more than she is with Marlo. But when it comes to Marlo, she's absolutely done with Marlo. And then Kenya pretty much talked about how she felt like Marlo was doing all of this for real, for damage control, because her actions never line up with her words. She always pretty much wants to guilt trip people into feeling sorry for her, but then she comes out and say these very terrible things, like what she say to Kandi, like that coup d'etat wasn't that good. She can't keep no man. Woo, 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 woo. And I feel like, yeah, Kenya and Kenya and Marlo definitely do the same things, but I can't really recall too much when Kenya says things like that. You know what I'm saying? Where she may do something like, Kenya, more hair care, or bring up a conversation. And like when Marlo had said something about her nephews, Kenya said, "Oh yeah, because you gave them up." Right? But I don't hear her saying a whole lot of like that coup d'etat wasn't good. I mean, Kenya does talk about her dating these old men and stuff. So I mean, maybe that's about a similar thing. I just feel like Marlo be more vicious in her attacks and the things that she say, than Kenya does. But y'all let me know, because I know y'all gonna do that anyway, because that's just how y'all is, girl. So I just wanted to come to y'all, give y'all a quick little review, quick little recap on my thoughts and some of the stuff that I got. Let me know how you felt about the reunion. It was like blah for me, but I want to hear from you guys and how you felt about it. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have yet to do so. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at jamithatsme, honey, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.